Hello, welcome to Serving the Valley. My name is Roy Justice. This is a Cedar Falls TV production that kind of gets you up close and personal. It makes you think about what it is about Iowa that makes this a pretty nice place to call home. We're about to prove that again. You have a choice to be healthy or not to be healthy. Is there really any need to discuss this, folks? I mean, that choice? Well, as a matter of fact, there is, because without that discussion, I have no program. So we're going to discuss your health. Oh no, not another show about what I'm supposed to do to stay healthy. Yes, but stay tuned. There's good news here, folks. Sometimes we are dealt an interruption to our good health. My guests today are going to offer you that choice I was talking about, and we're going to investigate that with a couple of friends. Say hello to a friend to many, actually, here in the Cedar Valley, Luann Alameo. I'm not going to say you've been around the block, but what I really want to say is you've really been experienced in this whole topic we're talking about.
It's my mantra. It's my core.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Renelle Langley has joined us as well. Renelle, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Roy.
I'm going to tell you up front, as I usually do in these programs, we don't have enough time. We just don't to get everything discussed we'd like to discuss. But the experience of our guest is where we're really going to allot the time. And I'm just going to step back and watch them discuss the whole subject matter. First of all, however, if I took time to introduce them and everything they've been involved in, we'd run out of time for the rest of the discussion. But I do want to give each of you a chance. Luann, I'll start with you. In a minute or two, and I know that's dangerous to give you only a minute or two, give us a little background about what it is that you bring to this whole healthy subject matter.
Well, I have to give John Cruz credit because I had read the Blue Zones book and I thought, I know I'm going to be given an opportunity to bring this forward. Presented it to John. He grasped it and he said, this is the vision that I have for the city. And so John and I worked together on this for over 10 years now. And it was really John and I together collaborating and getting in touch with the right leaders that brought Blue Zones forth.
Well, we certainly all remember the Blue Zone projects. It still is. It's a big deal. It still is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. It's a huge accolade nationally to be a Blue Zone city.
I think it's safe to say, and there are probably statistics, but I don't have them with me, that says something like we're healthier today because of Blue Zones. We all live a healthier life here because of Blue Zones, correct?
Correct, yes. In many aspects, again, it's personal choice, but there are plenty of opportunities to be healthier if we choose to do so. I mean, and we're going to talk about some of those initiatives that weren't there prior to the Blue Zones project. Mm-hmm. One such thing is that John wanted a bike pedestrian advisory board, and he created that. I'm on that along with 9 other people. And so we make decisions on help the city to make decisions on the infrastructure for walkability and bikeability, mm-hmm. so that everyone can have a means of getting from point A to point B. And complete streets policy came as a result of that too.
Now, we're not going to leave the discussion about Blue Zones. We refer back to this during the program.
Yes.
But there's now something called Cedar Valley Healthy Hometown. Renelle, what's that all about?
I would say that was a natural outflow of the Blue Zones, because I remember when John got first involved with the Blue Zones, he was introduced to Dan Buertner, as Luann was saying, the book that he was reading, and Dan was coming to a conference at UNI. We had the opportunity to meet him. John was very impressed, and it was already part of the strategic plan for 2020 and 2025 for the city. So he was very excited about the whole concept of Blue Zones, but I think that laid a wonderful foundation of what naturally developed in 2016. We also got the Healthy Hometown Award from the state of Iowa. And then it's basically just building on what we have been doing in the Blue Zones, because I mean it's the same people involved. But I think what makes it a very natural outflow is now to implement the tagline, eat better, live. What's it? Eat better, exercise, move more, and feel better.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Try to do that every day. I try to do that every day. The undertaking has several parts, and I'll refer to it as something like a three-legged stool. We have the health system, which occupies on that draft, what, about 50%? No, about 20%? What's the,
Well,
there it is,
yeah,
20%.
your healthcare
20%.
system
I missed the
contributes-
rehearsal, I'm sorry.
Yeah, your healthcare system contributes to just 20% of your longevity.
Okay.
And so I want to get the point across that where we choose to live really dictates 50%. 50%. I learned this at a conference that I went to, and it was just profound for me, and it made such an impact. That's by the policies that our city council create and make, where we work, how we commute, the access to food that we have or that we don't have, the systems, the environment, the healthy environment, the greenhouse gas emissions, all of those things contribute to 50% of our longevity.
Okay.
And that's huge.
Yes, it is huge.
That's huge. And then 30% is our personal choice.
Okay.
What we choose to do and how we design our day and how we nudge movement into our day and the food decisions that we make. The people, even the people we hang with, contribute to our longevity. Do we thrive with our right tribe, or are they people that de-energize us? I mean, that's even important, and that's why Ronell and I started a lot of these MOI groups, like-minded groups,
right.
and I'm in 3 of them right now, and so we're a social support system for each other besides being physically active. And the tourism, Cedar Falls Tourism also has a link on their website if you want to be involved in one of any of these groups. A lot of them are listed, and if we find out more, we pass them on to tourism. So they're all listed right there.
So we have the system, we have the community, and then we talk about that personal choice.
Yes.
Now, how does the personal choice get involved in this? What are the choices?
Yes, I think that's where what the work that I've been focusing on during Blue Zones, I was part of the Purpose Committee, but then now with a Healthy Hometown, we got more involved with a program at Mayo Clinic. Dr. Amit Sood was a guest at UNI, where he had a presentation about how can we bring more of the knowledge that we have about neurosciences, how can we bring that more to our hometown as well, where we help give people opportunities to get training and understanding mind and body health, and somebody who's the expert in the field of that would say that by the year 2050, they predict that all of us will realize as much as we have to exercise our body is that we need to take care of our minds as well. And having that program of Mayo Clinic that we started off with Dr. Sood coming to UNI, but then continuing with programs that we offer locally, we also offer people also opportunity to know we can make a difference in terms of our mind-body health as well.
Now, this is not just about guest speakers coming to let us know what they've done. It's also about studies that have been done by these individuals as well.
Yes.
Without going into all the details of those studies, it's all just saying, you said it earlier in the program, we all need to be moving a little more. And watch what we're intaking into our bodies as well. It gets back to those healthy choices. Well, as I said, I'm just going to sit back here. I want you two to discuss with each other the directions that healthy choices can be taking us in the very near future. This is not something we're talking about 3 or 5 or 10 years from now, building a big complex to house all of this. It's available to us right now in this community of Cedar Falls.
Yes, and it's growing. I mean, Blue Zone's Healthy Hometown still exists. And I probably want to say it's more back of the house than front of the house as far as the label, but the initiatives, as Ronell spoke to, are still taking place and are still moving forward. And some of those things, well, I guess I want to back up a little bit. We have MOI groups, as the graphic is showing, and I'm doing Blue Zone's culinary classes out at Unity Point Healthcare System. And those have been going on for 6 years now. And they're hands-on, and you can see the graphic there, where people are learning, touching, feeling, smelling, getting into the kitchen. It's hands-on, introducing them to the foods that the longest living, healthiest people eat on a daily basis. And so, and they're, you know, I try to have the local food vendors come, the local farmers, they're involved in the class, plus chefs. We have a chef coming to the next class. It's going to show culinary methods. I try to use all the talents in the local area to come to the class as well. So it's not just me demonstrating, it's the class participating, hands-on. That's how we retain.
There's another part about that too, but I want you to hold up talking about that. We're going to dig into that in just a little bit. And I mean, it's going to get very much into the dirt.
Okay.
Stick around. I think you'll enjoy what's coming up next. We're going to pause for a little time out here, but the subject matter remains the same, even in our pause. Stick around.
Getting and staying healthy. It can be a challenge, can't it? Between work, school, and other commitments, some days there just aren't enough hours. But have you ever noticed how your surroundings affect your activity level? Just think about your normal day. Is processed food easier to fit into your hectic schedule than a healthy meal? Do you drive to the store rather than walk? How often are you on your phone or tablet? Our day-to-day activities and where we live impact our health. In fact, your zip code may impact your health more than your genetic code. Americans are experiencing more chronic health issues and are more overweight than ever before. 30 years ago, obese adults made up less than 15% of the population. Today, 2 out of 3 adults are overweight or obese. So why do our waistbands continue to get bigger? Well, we consume what's convenient. Items like soda and potato chips are in every convenience store, vending machine, and checkout lane, and fruits and veggies are scarce. More than 75% of kids don't eat green vegetables daily. Americans consume 600 more calories per day than they did in 1970. That's equivalent to an extra lunch. We also eat 30% more added sugar, which is in part due to increased portion sizes. And since 1960, our plate sizes have gotten 36% bigger. In addition to our changing eating habits, we move less. Transportation systems are designed for cars instead of people, resulting in communities' reduced walkability. U.S. adults walk less than 5,000 steps a day, and the number of kids who walk to school declined from 48% in 1969 to 16% in 2011. Even the social connections we make are often virtual rather than face-to-face. Adults spend more than 10 hours a day on screen time, and kids spend more than 6 hours a day, which also leads to decreased physical activity. But there's a solution to these problems, and they start in our hometowns. A community can't change habits, but it can be a guide to better ones. Small changes like creating biking and walking paths and establishing community gardens are just a couple ways to reduce these issues, and Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield wants to help. When citizens band together to make healthier choices easier, the results are enormous. Learn how you can help make the future healthier by visiting wellmark.com/healthyhometown. There you can take a self-assessment or get expert consultation on ways to enhance the well-being of your community, all at no cost. What are you waiting for? Visit wellmark.com/healthyhometown.
And there you are, a little more information perhaps than what you thought you were going to see when this program started. Well, don't go away, because we've got a whole lot more to dig into. I kind of led into that, and I'm not gonna let you spill the dirt, so to speak, right away, Luann. So stand by on that.
All right.
I talked earlier about some studies, some statistics, some things we don't have the graphs on, but I want Renelle to talk a little bit about the Gallup Organization and what they have said about this whole subject matter.
Yeah, after we had certification as the Blue Zones community, they had some meeting with us to explain what happened in our communities since we started until the end of that when we got the certification. And I think what was very helpful to know is that they pointed out specifically purpose and total well-being as being an integral part that they see as a core for both our communities here in the Cedar Valley. Mm-hmm. And that was what I've been focusing on, for the whole duration of both Blue Zones as well as the Healthy Hometown.
So it's the holistic approach.
A holistic approach, looking at the total well-being, and sort of we know the parts that are more visible would be the eat well, exercise more or move more. But I think the part that we need to look at, the holistic part, is how do we take care of the mind? And that's a bit more abstract, and that's what I'm focusing on. With the work that I'm doing with Mayo Clinic, we are continuing with programs that we give, and like for instance the UNI, one of the books that are from Mayo Clinic, they bought 40 copies that is in the library at the UNI, showing that they want wellness and total well-being to be a mantra as part of what we do as a community and organizations as well.
Not only that library, the one at UNI, but the community library, the one in Cedar Falls, has a large collection of publications.
Well, that's how I first discovered the Blue Zones book. It was on the shelf in the new book section, and I thought, oh, this looks like a good read. And so I took it off the shelf, and that was 11 years ago, and I didn't think anything would change my life so dramatically. And books do change lives. And so after I read it, I thought I would have an opportunity. I thought, I know I'll be given an opportunity. And so that's when I went to John and said, I want to bring Dan Buettner here to Cedar Falls. Will you help me? And so John read the book and he said, this is the vision I have. And so we worked on a conference. I was in charge of a conference, brought it to UNI, and that's where Renelle and John got just dug in their heels. And what we're seeing now, the growth in our city now, from pickleball courts to a Cedar Falls food co-op initiative that is being organized and planned, and they're looking for a site right now. All these things are happening as a result of the foundation that initiative led.
Another thing that's happening, and now I'm going to get to the dirt. I mean, we're going to dig into this right now. There's something interesting that's going on. Perhaps as the summer's rolling along, people can actually go out to Unity Point and see what's developing right there behind that building.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Roy. I'm so excited and
well,
so
you wrote it for me to bring up, so it's right here.
Well, I've been teaching all these healthy cooking classes at Unity Point. And so I've been telling them, this really starts with our children. This really starts with our children. They're the ones that are the most formable and the most pliable, and we need to start with them. How about a garden on the back of your property, and let's do a program called Get Growing. And they loved it. And so we're starting that this summer, where we're the Lions Club International, our Cedar Falls Lions and the R International are going to be in charge of the garden and planting the garden along with the children. And so the children are going to have exposure to the garden, planting the garden, and then coming back into the kitchen to prepare some healthy food. We have the Cedar Falls Public Library that is supplying all the books that will be read to the children, because they're going to start off learning concepts out of books about gardening, what it takes to be healthy, why it's important to be healthy. Because the incidence of diabetes for our children is significantly high. It's 45%. And we have to lower that, because the cost of one individual with diabetes is somewhere between $11,000 and $18,000 a year, and that's on the low end. And someone without is $3,000. So our healthcare system is going to benefit by having our children exposed to just the planting and growing and the preparation. And I'm so excited that Unity Point saw this vision that food is thy medicine, and we're going to have the children out in the garden and exposed to the plants, the science, the food preparation, all of those kinds of things. So it took all of these partners with this vision to help this come true, and you will be registering for the program via the Cedar Falls Public Library.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about it, and I will be teaching the children along with a couple other helpers.
We need to point out in this fact too that Unity Point's writing a check for this.
Oh yes, they saw the vision that our children need to be healthy straight from the beginning. And we know there's studies showing, in fact I just read one from the British Journal of Medicine, that getting children out in a garden and taking place and having ownership in a garden with the food, they tend to want to try more. They tend to, when they're more exposed, they're more willing to eat their fruits and vegetables. And those are the powerhouses.
Right.
Those are the powerhouses that help fight
in
disease.
the diet. That's right.
Along with, again, spending time outdoors creates a healthy mind.
Good point.
And being with the plants and all of those kinds of things. Just that.
When we're talking about
Yeah.
digging in the garden, I know, and you know this as well, our good friend, my neighbor, Rich Congdon, has been very active in putting this whole thing together. And I can tell
Yes.
you, as a Lions Club member, he doesn't miss a chance of recruiting new people. So you'll see fellow Lions over there helping out
I'm
with
so
the project
excited
as
about
well.
working with the Cedar Falls Lions group. I'm so excited that Rich is a person who has vision too, and it's just he and I have worked together previously, and I just think this is really exciting that it's really taken on a community event with all these
Right.
partners, and we'll have those Lions members out in the garden building the beds, tending the garden, and I just can't think of a more worthwhile project, and improving the health of our children.
True.
I just think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
children, by the way, age 5 to 12 can register for the program, and it's absolutely free.
Okay, Rich, I mentioned your name, you owe me a coffee. How can others get involved? There's got to be, other than being out and working in the garden, how do they contact whoever they need to contact and say, I'm available, I've got some time, what do you need?
We have a Healthy Hometown website, that's on Facebook.
Yes,
And
on Facebook too.
on there you will get the contact information in terms of call or email address or, more information about opportunities.
And if I'm calling that phone number, who do I get?
That would be Sue Beach.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now we
Yes.
mentioned Susan. That's 2 coffees. What have we left out that you? If there were more time, Roy, why didn't you ask me about? You mentioned earlier health fairs.
Oh yes, we are still participating at health fairs. So if a company, corporation calls up and they want to do a health fair, we do have tables and materials, and we will be there to help spread this initiative. Absolutely. So we are still doing that. We're still working with restaurants. We're still doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
foundation
that
was
it's
laid.
more, yes,
Right.
the foundation
Yes.
was, it's just a more gentle touch, I guess.
And we did not mention about a food co-op.
yes.
That is
Mention about
important
that.
because we both
Yeah, we
members
would like
of
to
that,
hammer
and
that a little
we
more.
learned the
Yes.
other day they already have 945 members going to heading for 1,000. So that is a definite, a wonderful project to get involved in.
It
Bringing
is.
more local food, and that we can eat healthy and have a place.
And they're going to be they're going to be a hub for the Cedar Falls community and for the valley. I mean, there's lots of events that happen surrounding the Cedar Falls Food Co-op, and they're looking for a site to build this store. So if anybody has a piece of property, they would love to hear about it because they're ready and they are looking. And it's a wonderful group of people that will really help patronize the local growers, the local farmers, just the people that really care about health and well-being and the food that they eat.
As always, as I mentioned at the start of this, the time clock always wins in these things, and it's a shame I couldn't find anybody with enthusiasm to talk about the subject matter. I don't know. I failed again. Thanks, Luann.
Oh, you're
and
welcome.
thank you, Renelle, for joining us.
you.
And thank you for joining us as well. Healthy Hometown, right here in Cedar Falls. And until our next story unfolds, I'm Roy Justice, serving the Valley.